England's road to the semi-finals reaches its final test today. But one thing we've learned this morning is there are no givens. But here on Cricbuzz Live, there is a certain given that Michael Vaughan has 2 to 3 hours to rub salt on Gilly's wounds. Welcome, Gilly. Welcome, Michael.
Hang on, that wasn't the script. That's not what I saw.
But Gilly, are you all right? Have you recovered all right?
I am. I went for a 2-hour walk at the end of that game just to
let it all out.
Cleanse the system, if you like. But no, well done. Congratulations, Afghanistan. Absolutely brilliant. Outplayed us in many, many different facets of the game. And Australia got a lot of strategy wrong. Their energy wasn't there. They didn't execute their skills, but their strategy was incorrect.
And their fielding, besides strategy.
That was well below par. But no, that's a terrific performance by Afghanistan.
I must admit, I'm chuckling because England are just a small performance away from qualifying for the semi. Beat the USA.
This is pretty much what Gilly sat on this chair and said yesterday, Michael. So you be aware because
but England they've been like this all tournament,
yes.
And the Australians have been rock solid, and they've just lost one game, and they look like they might be. They're now going to go and beat India tomorrow night in a day game. I think it's in St. Lucia. So. It's a strange old time. And then I looked at South Africa, and we were talking about South Africa all there through. They've just beaten England. And then I think, wait a minute, if South Africa lose to the West Indies tomorrow morning, they're probably going to go out if England win today. So, things change in competitions and in tournament play.
Michael, you had called it. You'd said this game is going to be the tricky one. I remember us chatting about it, and you said Afghanistan, Australia, T20 cricket, this one could be a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, full credit to Afghanistan, but Gilly's right. I mean, Australia to allow Afghanistan to bat first on that kind of wicket, not play Mitchell Starc, to play a spinner and then ask them to bat first is absolutely bonkers. But to see Australia, they actually fielded really poorly against England. And I was watching that thinking, it's against England, they probably don't want England to win, so I kind of gave them a bit of leeway, but they were poor in the field against Afghanistan. And full credit to the Afghanistan team, particularly in the field. Afghanistan in the field took a couple of blinders. That bowling attack that they have is very, very good on these wickets. They've got all the skill sets, they've got little tricks, the seamers. They've just got all the little touches that you need in T20 cricket. Whether the batting will stand up, we'll have to wait and see, but... it's been a big turnaround in the last 12 hours in this tournament.
I just think, the strategy was incorrect. You look at that batting lineup for Afghanistan, and the top two are the key. We see so often if the top two don't get the runs, who else gets them? So Australia took one of their strikers out, Mitchell Starc, even if he only had to bowl 2 overs. And we saw that it did swing around a little bit. I thought that. And then, as you say, pick a spinner because you know it's going to be slow and maybe low and turning, and then you bowl first. But the cricketing world are sort of reacting to this like it's one of the greatest upset shocks in history. I understand. I'm not saying this as sour grapes as an Australian. We were outplayed, but I don't see it, and we were talking as a massive shock. Afghanistan should have knocked Australia out of the 50 over World Cup. They compete on the biggest stage. They don't quite get the consistency right, but in knockout phases or Super 8 phases, second rounds of world tournaments, they know how to compete in these conditions. So it's not that big a surprise.
No, it's not. My crystal ball looks into the next few days, and it could quite easily be that England finish top, and it could quite easily be that Afghanistan finish second, and then Afghanistan-England semi-final in Trinidad. And obviously, when you just look at it, England-Afghanistan in white ball cricket ice, England's game. But I'm telling you, that is a 50-50 match. In Trinidad, on a pitch that just does a little bit with the spinners and the cutters and the slow balls. There'll be no pace and bounce for the likes of Jofra, Archer, Mark Wood. That is a 50-50 game. That's certainly not a game that England will go to thinking, right, we're hot favourites to win this one.
Well, we'll have a look at that points table and see what happened in the points table after Afghanistan won. Now, the India-Australia becomes a do or die for Australia. So it is going to be a knockout game for Australia, Gilly.
It certainly is. Can we knock India out? Is there still a chance?
I told you that yesterday. It's a win-win for India.
No, surely if you beat India by about 350
or so, we could do that, but finish top. No, it is. It's do or die. They know that now. But I think they can even still win and not get through, possibly.
Oh, with the rain.
There's a mathematical chance.
Well, Afghanistan play Bangladesh after that game,
Yes.
so Afghanistan are going to know exactly
what they need to do.
What they need to do in terms of beating Bangladesh. And that's not a given. Bangladesh can beat Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That is not a given. But if you were going to choose one team that you had to win to just give yourself a glimpse of getting through to those semi-finals, I'd suggest it's not India.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And that's what the Aussies have to do. Not only that, they have to get on a plane from St Vincent to St
pretty
Lucia.
hectic.
I've seen Harsha on the WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah.
They might not have any bags.
Mightn't have a bat.
It'll be late. They might have to bat with their hands. And it's an hour and a half to the hotel, an hour and a half to the ground. The day game starts at 10:30, what?
Yeah.
Day after next, or is it
Yeah.
day after next?
36-hour turnaround.
So, look, they're going to have to beat, not only are they going to, India have been the best team in the tournament so far, not only are they going to have to beat the best team in the tournament, they're going to have to do it playing with their boots and hands. Not going to be easy.
Harsh has been commentating in the hotel bathrobe. So Australia could be playing in that.
well, in their bathrooms, it might be a new jersey for Australia. But, Michael, we have been laughing about what's happened this morning. But I know this is nervous laughter for you because England's not quite had the smoothest journey and they take on USA today. Just before the game started, you said that you'd want England to win the toss and you'd want them to put them into bat. Is that what you said?
Only because there's a bit of rain around in Barbados.
So that's exactly what's happened. Is England have won the toss and USA will be batting first. So a good start, exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, but if the rain doesn't come, I think it's the best way the United States have of beating England.
If they bat first.
Yeah, batting first. Because if the rain doesn't come, that wicket will certainly get slower. We saw that in Barbados when India played Afghanistan. You know, that pitch got slower and slower. If the sun does come down, I mean, you're in the Caribbean, so you can get a shower, but you can also get some glaring sunshine down on the 22 yards, so that'll be what the United States are hoping for. I just look at England and even though they lost to South Africa, they got close enough. You know, I thought South Africa should have beaten England by 30, 40 runs, which should have helped their net run rate, not helped England at all. England have just got a win today. They win by over 10 or by 1 over.
Yes.
Obviously, I think they're through to the semi-finals, and I have to say they're kind of stumbling through. But that's not a bad sign. It's not a bad
as
sign.
long as they get through, but they've stumbled their way through. We'll have a look at their playing 11 because they have that one change. Almost feels like deja vu because they've got Chris Jordan in and Mark Wood is out. Yeah. We know what happened this morning when Stark was dropped. So a brave call there, you feel, Gilly?
No, look, I don't see that as a huge surprise. We saw some pictures coming through of Mark Wood out in the middle and he had sort of the casual sunglasses on. I wondered whether he wasn't going to be playing and that's exactly, well, it's been confirmed there. I think Jordan's variations, he's a fantastic death bowler, but he's got some really, probably a little bit more variety for a slower wicket than what Mark Wood has. You know, and any time that pace on the ball, which that's what Wood uses so well, is his express pace. But I think that's not a huge surprise to see that.
But also, I mean, he's a brilliant fielder.
Yes.
Great fielder, and also it shows up that batting.
Adds up the batting a little bit more, yeah.
But, you know, Michael, you were talking about how it's not been a smooth sailing journey for England so far. But, Gilly, we've spoken about this. On paper, they look like such a solid team. But it's been up and down. This is how it's been for England. If they go through today, do you see them favourites to win the title?
If they get through to the semis, they're one of the 4 contenders for sure. That's confirmed. I don't know you could say they're favourites to defend their title, but anyone that's still alive, of which pretty much everyone's still alive, maybe the US are the ones that are hanging on by the barest of margins, to coin the phrase of Ian Smith. But England will be well and truly in contention. I expect them to win today and get through to that semi, and then it's T20 cricket. Anything's possible. Their convincing performance against the host nation.
Yes,
that was England at their best. That was, I think you said, Vaughan, one of the more impressive white ball performances you'd seen from them in probably a couple of years, really. So that's them. That's the statement to the rest of the competition. Everyone's aware of that. It's just if they can replicate that. That's what the best teams do, know how to replicate that in the big moments. So, yeah, they'll certainly give it a shake if they can just get this done and dusted today, and then after that, they're as good a chance as any.
England have played in this World Cup like they have played in the last 18 months in white ball cricket. They've been beatable. You know, if you go back to when they won the World Cup in 2019 and leading into the Australia T20 World Cup, they used to go on these mammoth runs of just beating everyone, and not just beating teams, hammering teams.
Yes.
And that was what we got used to. And in the last year and a half, I haven't been surprised when England have lost white ball cricket. You know, it hasn't surprised me, but they are so dangerous. Just little things that I saw against South Africa on a slowish pitch, that partnership between Liam Livingstone and Harry Brook, those two players getting in form. You know, clearly we've got to try and find some form from the captain, Jos Buttler. He's just been, you know, almost playing not the natural way that we've seen from Jos. You know, I like to see him being really aggressive. And I think with Phil Salt at the other end, he's just playing within himself. I just think he's got to go.
Yeah.
I think he's a better player when he does that. And when you get to a semi-final, I know one thing, England won't be scared of it. You know, they're not a team that I ever think... They might play badly on the day, but it won't be because they're scared of the occasion. They'll have a real good pop and they'll bring the right mentality. But I just think on these kind of wickets, you know, if you've got funnily enough, someone like Australia, it might be an easier attack for England's batters to hit because they're used to that style of bowling. Whereas the Afghanistan bowlers, I just think a lot of, you know, South Africa, England, Australia batters who are very kind of hard at the ball, I just think that Afghanistan attack are clever and really smart. I think that's what undo the Australians this morning was all the kind of variations and subtle changes. And I could see them having a lot of success against an England batting lineup because it's not kind of the kind of attack that England players like to face and hit.
But Gilly, do you think it's just been a momentum shift for England, or do you think it's just a format difference with them? Because like Michael said, in white ball cricket, they've looked like they have been a beatable team.
Yeah, I was just trying to think, just listening to Vaughan then and try to think why it is where that from 2015 when they got knocked out of the World Cup in Australia, that was the turning point where Owen Morgan assumed control and they just changed the whole dynamic and they were, you know, up until 2019, up until they really won the World Cup in Australia in the T20 format, their white ball cricket for 7 years was excellent. Why haven't they been able to replicate? There's been personnel change. There's always been that shuffling of the deck to an extent where they're nurturing Jofra Archer. You know, so he's out for most of the time, but then suddenly turns up at the big moments, and as you should nurture a player of that calibre and quality. But whether that upsets, you know, the balance, the rhythm a little bit, what does that mean? A knock-on effect to another player like Mark Wood, who without Archer you probably have Wood in there to be the impact guy. Definitely. So there can be little sort of nuances like that, I guess, that can really throw the ship, just not completely flip it over, but just off kilter a little bit. So,
but don't you think from 15 to 9, England almost played a brand of white ball cricket that no one was playing?
Completely fearless.
They surprised everyone. It was like this new approach to white ball cricket. I think what's happened over the time is most teams are playing that style now. So it's like in football terms, the Barcelona way many years they used to ticky-tacky around everyone. Everyone went, oh man, how'd you play that? And Barcelona won everything. All of a sudden everyone said, well, we'll play that. And you get more and more teams that are better at doing it, and then it becomes a tougher competition. I just think most teams now play the modern way, which I guess England and the likes of Owen Morgan, Trevor Bayliss, they were ahead of their trend in the way that they played white ball cricket. And everyone's playing it now. And England are just on this plateau, and they know that if they bring their best players to the party, they're a very, very dangerous team. And if they don't, you know, there'll be a team that they play against that will have the same kind of mindset, the same kind of disciplines, the same kind of strategy. And I just think there's more teams that can beat pretty much everyone on a given day. Just it's down to getting your best players playing well.
And they're trying to work out what their best 11 is, particularly with bat in hand.
You're right to mention Jofra. With Jofra Archer in the England side, with that bowling attack, I just think he's got the X factor. He's got the difference. I mean, even in a game against South Africa, his first over went for 21. What did he end up with? 3 for 40?
Yeah, he pulled it back really well.
You know, so he knows how to get it back. There's not many bowlers in the world that can do that. He's up there with the best. So I just think by having Jofra Archer back in the white ball team, it just gives England that nice cream on the top of the cake.
Well, someone who wants to eat that cream from the cake is USA, and I want to have a look at their playing 11 and see if they have any changes. The captain is yet not back. Aaron Jones is still going to be the captain. They've gone unchanged. Aaron Jones has had a lot of responsibility since he's become captain. He started off really well in the World Cup. Those 10 sixes, extremely aggressive, was looking very good for USA.
Then
he came on your podcast and came under pressure, guys. What happened there?
He hasn't scored a run since. Yeah, I'm blaming Gilly.
Mocker on him.
Yeah, but Aaron Jones, they will want him to fire because for USA to do well, Aaron Jones needs to do well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's one of the mainstays of that batting lineup. Such a likeable character. He was good fun, wasn't he?
Yeah,
very
great.
relaxed. He's obviously probably, from America, but pretty much a lot of his life in Barbados. So he's that's a pretty casual part of the world. Anyone that comes from that area, but he'll want to finish this tournament with a bang and make a statement like he started it. He'd love to bookend his run. Whether the captaincy has weighed heavy on his shoulders, hard to know. He's an enthusiastic, supportive style captain. He really applauds his teammates. He encourages them. You can see him working closely with them. So, if he can get in and get some support around him, Andreas Goose, he's been terrific. I know we can focus on him as well because he has scored some runs. So there's enough little glimpses through this tournament to say that if two or three of them can do it, you don't expect all six batters to do it in one game, but if two or three can string it together, they should be able to pose something significant.
Michael, what I really liked about Aaron Jones and this USA team actually is they seem so fearless, especially Aaron Jones. Even if it's a big opponent, it doesn't look like he's been intimidated by the opponent. He plays his aggressive brand of cricket and that's what he's been doing. Yeah,
and you look at that, the sixes that he's hit, 14 in the World Cup. So he's obviously a good striker of a cricket ball. Someone like Stephen Taylor at the top of the order, he had a nice run out in the previous game, and if he can open with an off spinner, I'm not too sure whether they'll go off spin like they did against Australia at this venue, but if they do, he'll try and climb into a Moeen alley in that first over. Can they get 150, 160? If they do, and the rain stays away, that spin department they've got, and Netravalkar, the left armour, he can cause a problem or two, but Jonesy as a captain, he's clearly just that free spirit. Look, he's a guy that knows Barbados well. He'd have been taking them round the rum shacks the last couple of days. They'll be loose today. They'll be ready to go. They'll be in at Oinstons on Friday night for fish and chips. That's a great party down there. So Jonesy will get them ready for this game, but it's just whether have they got enough skill? Have they got enough skill across 11 players to beat this England side? You'd think not, but you just never know.
But Aaron Jones and Archer were school buddies, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
So he'd be happy to play against his school buddy and get a one-up against him.
No, they'll be so keen. As you say, Taylor, he spoke openly about playing against the West Indies in Barbados. What a proud moment that was for him. This US team, I want to see Corey Anderson fire a shot. He's been a little bit disappointing through this tournament. And this USA team, they've qualified for the next T20 World Cup, so there's a lot of positive signs there. And I guess we shouldn't be too surprised that they made an impact on this tournament, given the collection of guys that have played a little bit, tasted international cricket perhaps elsewhere, or certainly high-level, first-class cricket. Had their road blocked in their home nation, so they cast their eyes in that direction, be it South Africans, West Indians, some New Zealand. I guess over their development, they need to just have a look at the timing and age of players that they are taking on. You still want players, if they're going to invest in a player from another country that is able to represent, become naturalised Americans or passport or whatever it may be, just make sure they've still got a real hunger to do well, not just to turn up and be on the stage. They've got to be as fit as they can, as prepared as they can, and committed to not just turning up, but achieving something. So that's the delicate balance for a nation like that.
From one big hitter, I want to go to another big hitter, Livingstone. And Michael, we know 2021, he was MVP at the 100. He got picked up for 11.5 crores for the IPL. He watched Ben Stokes hit those winning runs. So we've seen him at a high, and then he's gone through his lows because of his knee injury. He spoke about it, said that it's not been fun. It's been a lot of pain and his knees troubled him a lot. But do you think we've seen sparks of the Livingstone that we know, the destructive Livingstone, back this World Cup?
Yeah, his strike rate suggests that he's got his mojo back. He'd like a little bit longer out in the middle. He's got this role at number 6 for England. It's pretty much the finishing role. So you never, unless England, 25 for 4, you're never going to get a huge amount of time in the middle. It's can you create impact in 20 balls? And that's pretty much what his role is. I think he's a tremendous cricketer. I really do. He bowls off spin, leg spin. I know his knee's been an absolute nightmare trying to get back from his knee problems. I see him as a player, if he can stay fit, England just have to keep giving him games. I really believe that he'll have a moment where he'll have a period of time where he's going to dominate if they keep giving him that opportunity. There's a lot of good cricketers in England who play a similar role. There's a guy called Jamie Smith who plays for Surrey. He could quite easily come into that kind of position in the middle, but because he bowls and he's a decent catcher, good fielder, he's the kind of cricketer that you would think England will certainly... And I don't get a sense that this World Cup... Sometimes at the end of World Cups, you get a sense that, that's the end of some players. But there's that many World Cups coming up so quickly that it's probably not going to be the end, because we've got a Champions Trophy next February, then a 50-over World Cup, whenever that is. 26 is another T20 World Cup. So I don't think that there'd be that much moving and shaking, but I just hope he stays fit. If he stays fit, I do believe that he's got the game that can, he's always likened to Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as good as Glenn Maxwell. I'll state that at the minute, but I do think over time, if he can trust himself and stay fit, I think he could have a moment that he can dominate a period of time.
Yeah, he does add an X factor like Glenn Maxwell, no doubt about that. I agree, he's not in that bracket. Maxie's proven it for a number of years, but that versatility of Livingstone is something a captain would love to draw on at any point in time. Someone mentioned that he hadn't scored a 50 in T20 cricket, maybe for 12 months or last 20 matches or something in and around there. I don't pay any attention to that. I don't think we should. I think the T20 stats need to be rejigged a bit from the traditional landmarks of 50s and 100s and 5s. It really is about that graphic we had up, the strike rate. It's what you can do in 30 balls or 25 balls. I mean, the Namibia one, that's probably a bit of a given against a nation like that, not disrespecting them, but that lower one there, South Africa, that almost pinched the wind, didn't it? And that's the impact you want from him every time, or that's what you're looking for. So don't worry about 50s, don't worry about aggregates over a tournament. I like the, almost more the, the Nockery careers score.
Yes.
Where impact and about when and how effective were the
Well, we
runs.
had a green cap in the IPL, if you'll remember, with just the impacts in the 16 to 20. I think it is a really good stat to give you the understanding of how important a player is at the impacts.
But again, on that, you look at India. You look at a lot of the Indian batters, they're not getting 50s and 70s, but I tell you what, they're playing the right way.
Yeah,
Rohit Sharma, he went out there, what did he get, 20 odd off 12 balls? And you go, all right, he got out, and I think someone on commentary, he just hit a 4 and a 6, why didn't it's not the game. His game is to go and destroy the power play.
Yes.
And if you can destroy the power play and get your team to 80, I don't know the stats, I'm making this, but I can imagine if you get your team to the power play batting first and you get to beyond 75, I can't imagine teams are losing that many games. If you bat first and you can win that first power play, and not just win it, destroy it.
Yes.
And that's why I look at someone like Rowan and I can completely see what he's trying to do. And I'd advise all players to try and play in that way in T20 cricket and just have these little 15, 20 ball camera. If you get one player to 100 or 50, 55, brilliant, fantastic.
Yes.
But you'd want to, obviously, and to get that number, you're going to have to take a huge amount of risk. But if you get out being risky, I don't think it's a problem at all. It's all about the impact of trying to hit that ball as far as you can, as often as you can. And if you've got a batting lineup that's so deep, which most of these teams have, you kind of gamble that you only need 2 or 3 to pop off to get to a good number.
Josh Buttler can...
Josh has got to
He
go.
can be the game changer as well, yeah?
I think he's just got to go, Just trust him in that batting lineup of England.
Yeah.
I mean, who's down Adil Rashid's down the bottom end at number 10. He's got, I think, 3 or 4 first-class hundreds. Jordan at 9. I mean, they've got a tremendous batting lineup. So that allows you at the top just to completely explode pretty much from ball one.
Well, we know that Adil Rashid is at number 10, but the impact he brings with the ball, Michael, he just goes so underrated because he is a T20I number 1 ranked player, but he's just not spoken about so much, and I wonder why.
Yeah, I think it's because he's not in the IPL, or he was last year and he didn't play. I think what the IPL brings is a huge amount of profile to these players. And if you're not in there, look at someone like Adam Zampa. Adam Zampa opted not to be here in the IPL. He kind of again under the radar, but you'd say Adil Rashid, Adam Zampa, Rashid Khan. There isn't much between the 3 of them.
Wow.
There really isn't much between. I mean, Rashid Khan is because, I mean, his numbers are great. He's captain in Afghanistan, but he plays in all the leagues around the world. So we see him play T20 cricket a lot. Where if you look at Zampa and Adil Rashid, I think they're equally as good as Rashid Khan, but they don't play in that many leagues around the world, so you don't see them as much. But what Adil Rashid brings to England, I think, is equally as important as Jofra Archer in the bowling department, because we've got Rayan Ahmed, a young up-and-coming leg spinner, but he's nowhere near Adil at the minute. So I always look at teams, and the players that I value the most is when I look at the 11 and go, right, so I look at the opening partnerships in the back, could they be replaced? Well, actually, could. There's plenty of those kind of players. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, there's loads of those kind of players. But could you replace Adil Rashid tomorrow? No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Could you replace Jofra Archer tomorrow? No, you couldn't. So that's why I think those two players for England in white ball cricket are the two most valuable players for the England side.
Well, I'll raise you high on that. Josh Buttler said it is Adil Rashid.
Yes.
Adil, yeah.
He said he has been, without doubt, our most important player in white ball cricket for a number of years. So, yeah, that's how highly he's regarded there.
That was Trevor Bayliss. As soon as he came in, I can't remember when Trevor started, and the first thing he did, he said, I need a spinner that can go either way.
Yes.
And they said, we've got a leg spinner at Yorkshire, Adil Rashid, so he's playing.
Well, I can
Put him straight in the side.
I can tell you one thing, that he really likes playing in the Caribbean. Surprisingly, he's played the maximum T20s in the ground in Barbados today, more than anywhere else in the world. I thought it's quite a stat.
More than any other venue in the world, even in England.
Yes, so he's played more T20Is.
I'd want to play in Barbados as well.
And he likes picking up the wickets here, Gilly, because he's gone wicketless just 2 games. So clearly he loves playing here.
So that's numbers in the Caribbean in T20. So not just this World Cup, but across his career in that region, they are outstanding numbers. And I think he'll be right in the game again today on that pitch. We saw it turning. He bowls. I just like the way that he attacks the stumps. Goes both ways. An element of unpredictability. A lack of ability of many batters to be able to pick him out of the hand. So that creates that uncertainty. And his pace, I just think it's yet another one of these quick pace leg spinners, not really looking to really throw it up.
Kind of comes out the front of his hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of just that flat, very hard to sort of slog sweep and get that step hit in. And if you're not picking it, you're doing it with great risk. So I think the conditions here will be in his favour. Yeah, and he'll just play another big role.
The fact that England play a lot in the Caribbean.
Yes.
I think they're going back again at the end of the year for a few more one-days. I mean, I'm not saying that the ECB hierarchy like the trips to Barbados, but I think they do. So all these other countries must say, can you come do an ODI series against us? And nah. The West Indies ring up. And 3 will be in Barbados. Yeah, we'll have that one.
Well, even more reason why they should be winning this World Cup. Adil Rashid says he's got 2 and he's very hungry for the 3rd. Considering how much cricket England plays there, they should be used to these conditions.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the England team's record of recent times in the Caribbean is not good. They lost the one-day series there and the T20 series there last Christmas. I don't think we've won a test match series in the Caribbean since my days. And we've been there a few times. It's just a part of the world that, whether it's the pitches, whether it's
the nightlife.
I always say it's a fine balance, Barbados and Antigua, St. Lucia, because you can get yourself in holiday mode. And if your holiday mode goes onto the pitch, you sometimes aren't quite as switched on as other parts of the world, but it's a great place to tour.
Well, we saw DK the other day in the virtual thing, so I'd love to be there. It looks like a perfect holiday mode, but we need to be switched on now because we have to answer the joy factor question. So we can't be in holiday mode. Let's have a look at the joy factor question of the day. Which cricketer got one of his most known nicknames from an innings he played in the 2011 World Cup on his birthday?
Oh.
That's
it's got me stumped already.
That's, yeah.
The 2011, so the Indian
one.
Indian World Cup. But it's such a vast, I mean, there's so many teams and...
It usually links to the game today.
Yeah.
So maybe
did it say a century on his birthday?
Yeah.
It said there? Yeah.
Was it a century on his birthday?
I think you're somewhere there, Gilly. I think it's a clue.
Okay.
But We'll figure it out when we have our dinner, the usual. Then we forget that we
Yeah,
have to
then we-
figure it out. We just have our dinner, so we'll do our guesses games quickly. Gilly got 2 and 2 yesterday.
So did you?
Yes, so did I.
Yeah.
So I think let's Michael go
Yes.
first.
Oh, right. So the two that are in form wait for me. I'm going to go 140.
140 for the United States of America.
I will go 144.
Low balling. So
Yeah.
140, 144. I will go
You're going to go high.
163.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Whoa.
I might win.
163, I like the surprise I saw this morning. I'm always rooting for underdogs, so I don't mind the 163. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you, Adam. We will go and discuss the joy factor now, but we will come back at the 10 hour point at the Cricbuzz Combox and give you all the updates, so do join us there.